Ain't dead yet.
My home and my family.
You know, that's what they should do in gaming. They should have a boss drop loot, but then resurrect and kill you while you're looting. That would really catch people off guard. Yes. One more try. Oh! Oh! I steal tier 4 armor. Will armor stack with armor like in PoE? Like now if I get percentage armor? Only 6 left? Yeah, but even if I just get to craft once... Oh my god, I actually only got to craft once. Oh, that's still 11% armor though. That is huge. The boots double my armor. They double my armor. Right, first I'll show off my build a little bit in action. So I'm following Lizard's build guide on that he's posted on Maxroll. And I also actually followed his like druid leveling guide as well. It was really good. The leveling guide is basically using the swarm form stuff. It's very similar to like Plague Bearer in Path of Exile. Now, I heard that this is smoother, nicer to play, and it really is. I enjoy this a lot more because it's like it's a lot of upkeep to keep the swarm blade thing up. You have to like play a lot more active, so you know, slightly worse to read chat and things like that. Seems like a lot more damage though. I can definitely see that. But I've heard that the druid version that I'm playing now is supposed to be insanely tanky, borderline immortal. So very excited for that. But yeah, definitely need to check out guides by Lizard. Both him and Dread do really good builds. Yeah, I haven't played enough to really make that many build guides yet. I have made a few of my own builds, but definitely weaker than like super min-max builds. At the moment it's set up so that my Maul make like a entangling roots shockwave around it, and I have a lot of things at the moment. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure it's coming from Spriggan form, even though I'm not using it. It's some of the skill points there, so that whenever I'm hitting rare or unique monsters, I'm gaining a lot of rage back. That's why you can see that while I'm damaging, I'm actually getting rage back, and I can permanently already stay in bear form. And there's a amulet, I can't remember what it's called, but I get later that will make me able to ditch that and get more damage. And because I can get, I think I get sweep instead, and then I'm able to stay in bear form permanently. I don't need the Spriggan form stuff and still have enough rage. Alright, so yeah, we have entangling roots, and then at the moment I have the poisonous seed stuff to get more seeds. That is because of the vines and the seeds here giving me rage, I think. Builds in last year was so like cool, like a lot of things work together. So here you can see chance to cast Maelstrom on use. So whenever I use swipe or maul, that casts Maelstrom. And then I have mostly damage stuff here in Maelstrom. If you're solo casting Maelstrom, you very often use that. It's like Unleash in Path of Exile. And then here on Roar, I have that I get 4 Maelstrom stacks whenever I roar. So as long as I'm hitting one enemy and a roar, I get instantly up to 7 stacks. And that's why this is called the Cold Dot Bear. And yeah, I would recommend watching the actual build guide. It is very good, very fun to play. I hope you enjoy watching the highlight video and seeing it in action.
Oh no!
Let's fucking go! So, to explain what just happened,
Oh,
for people that don't
no,
know,
it's fine.
I just sealed an item. That means that it can now get a 5th stat. And sealing a tier 4, it's really hard. Can I do strength? Oh my god, I actually can. If I get tier 5 strength now. Oh my god, this is like actually like. Honestly, this is like pretty much BIS now. Yeah, it's a good tier 4 too, because that doesn't get a crazy upgrade on the next one. Wow. And I still have 27 forging potential. It's also very good for multiple builds. So this, okay, I could be wrong because I don't know. I've never done it before. But I feel like this would be a good target for mirroring for my other druids. Because it's very generic. And it's on a good base. It's got a tier 6. You can have multiple tier 6 and 7s on an item too, but obviously that's quite rare, especially at level. And especially getting that item that early, like I'm only level 81, that's actually pretty crazy. That is genuinely a very good item, especially considering where I am. Alright, we're gonna do this boss, and then we're probably gonna end for today. You just came? I haven't done that today there. So, this big deer creature that you see me fighting is the end boss for the Age of Winter. Once I finish killing the bosses in the last rune, Spirit of Fire, and the Age of Winter, I can then do what's called Empowered Monoliths. That allows any timeline to be done at level 100, getting better rewards and better everything. Oh, they have killed him since the update. Oh my god. A lot of damage if I can stay on 20 stacks. I did it. All of the tundra. Block effectiveness, endurance threshold. Just a roll on it. Pretty good.
This is just kind of chill run for now. Like, this is probably the first one I've ever stayed in game. I've never done the campaign before either.
Hi, Scissorin here with another video, and today we're covering Last Epoch, which has its multiplayer launch on the 9th. Very exciting. I'm definitely going to be playing that, probably with some friends. And today I'm going to be telling you 6 cool things about Last Epoch for those that aren't familiar with the game. So Last Epoch is an action role-playing game similar to Path of Exile and other multiplayer ARPGs like Diablo that you have played in the past. With a lot of the similar feature, it has skills, items, etc. And I want to cover some cool things that you might be interested in. One thing that's really cool, it has an in-game loot filter that you can access while you're playing. And you can like very easily like temporarily disable something. You can add something really quickly. So you can just be like, okay, for this, I want to recolor, and I want them to look like this, and I want it to be everything that's like really, you know, a set item, exalted items, things like that, or specific mods and items that you're looking for. So what if I'm looking for like anything with summons? Then I can just easily like change that, and it'll go into my filter. And it's so easy to fix and do on the fly. Last Epoch doesn't really have as much as, like, you know, in Path of Exile we have never sync. Never Sync's like a general filter that most players would use because it's too convoluted and complicated to make your own. That's not really needed in this. I've never downloaded somebody else's filter. I just make my own filter on the fly, and I'm like, ooh, I need to check out for these. I need this for later. And your filter just evolves over time. It's really, really interesting. And you can have a lot of things be the same color, different colors, and make it exactly what you want. I've never ever felt like I'm like needing a filter in the start either because not enough things are dropping. Now, Last Epoch has more deterministic crafting than Path of Exile. Now, it also has some really interesting things. So first, let me tell you a little bit about the items. It has 2 prefixes and 2 suffixes, and there is some special stuff you can do to get a 5th. Also, you have drop-only prefixes and suffixes. So this can go tier 6 or tier 7. They're called Exalted. This makes for some really interesting things because you could also drop multiple of those. You could drop 2 drop-only stats on an item. So there's like a lot of excitement when certain bases are dropping. There's obviously a lot of different base types too. Like this item has movement speed as its base implicit and ward retention, which is sort of like energy shield in Path of Exile. And then on the prefixes, it has tier 6 movement. And this can't be increased. But you see that it has dodge rating and health regen per second. And then we can deterministically upgrade the dodge rating to tier 5, which is the highest tier that's craftable. Tier 6 and tier 7 is drop only, like I said. You could also try to completely randomize it. It'll then turn into tier 5, but it could be something we need even more than dodge rating. So now we got tier 5 poison resistance instead. And it lost something called Forge Potential. So Forge Potential is how much crafting is left on the item. And this is random when the item drops. So sometimes you'll get a crafting base with, let's say, like 6 crafting potential or forging potential. That's very low, and you'll barely be able to do anything with the item. But what if you drop an item that already has like really high rolls and a lot of forging potential? That means you're very likely to be able to finish your item. So if you're not a big fan of Path of Exile's like super RNG while crafting and having to start completely over, this is a very different take on crafting, and it does feel a lot less punishing. Then here for prefixes, we can just look through and be like, oh, you know what? Strength, vitality. So say that I want to choose vitality because I want to be tankier, and we have Glyph of Hope, and this is a 25% chance that it costs no forging potential, right? Letting us craft even more. And then we have Glyph of Order. This is if it's top rolled, it'll stay top rolled because there is like, you know, something would be between 37 and 46. You wouldn't have to divine it. And then we have Glyph of Despair, and this is healing, which is similar to fracturing in Path of Exile, but it would be basically adding a 5th stat. And these are quite rare. So normally you would be crafting with Glyph of Hope and hoping that it doesn't use forging potential. And then something that can happen as well that is a low chance, you can get a critical success. So it can go from, for example, tier 3 vitality to tier 5 vitality. And it could also upgrade, you know, it could just go 1 on the vitality, but something else could go up 1. Obviously everything else is maxed on this, so that couldn't happen, but it could double level up the vitality. We then have different runes we can do. We can destroy an item, creating random number of affix shards. You can do that. It doesn't need any forging potential. Here we have the reroll the values of all affixes on an item within their tiers. So this is a divine orb basically. Here is an annulment orb from Path of Exile. Remove a random affix on an item. So it could, for example, remove the health regen per second. Now this is when you would want to have a lot of forging potential left. This is Rune of Discovery. This is sort of like used to try to find things on items that maybe only have 1 stat. And say, for example, you would use it on a lot of helmets to try to get plus skills of things that you don't have. Rune of Shaping is for rerolling the implicits, so all the things like movement speed can go from 15 to 18, ward retention 10 to 15. We have Rune of Ascendancy, which turns it into a unique item, doesn't keep any of the stuff. And then I think that's the Mirror Rune, which I don't have. But let's upgrade to tier 5 now. Now this item is max, right? So this is total level 21, and that's pretty high. You can get higher. And then we can, like, you know, maybe it didn't turn into what we wanted. You can shard the item, and you see that I get a bunch of shards here for crafting. And you'll find a lot of items. You'll keep an eye out from your filter, like I showed, things that
Let's
you
put that
are
on high.
looking for. Like maybe you're looking for vitality, minion crit chance, and you'll get a lot of those. And when you finally find a base that maybe has like some of the things, let's say that I found a chest that had tier 3 vitality, tier 4 minion crit, and then maybe no suffixes, I'd be like, okay, this has 50 forging potential left, I'm gonna craft on this. And that's how the deterministic crafting is in Last Epoch. Very cool. Another thing I want to show you guys is something called legendary potential. So legendary potential is on unique items, and it means that you can turn them into legendaries. Now, a legendary potential on unique items, it's not something that every unique item has. Every unique has between 0 and 4 legendary potential, 4 being incredibly rare, and it is rarer on the more endgame the item is. So if you are finding like a really rare sought after unique, the chance of it having legendary potential is very low. Like for example here, I think they've been nerfed, but this used to be one of the best items in the game, and getting these with legendary potential is basically impossible, and getting 4 legendary potential would be something like, you know, a mirror Path of Exile, like incredibly rare. Here you have some common leveling gloves, and they have 3 legendary potential. Now what we can do with these is really interesting. You basically get to combine them with a rare item. And if an item has 4 legendary potential, the entire rare item is added to the glove, with every stat being guaranteed. If it has 3 legendary potential, 3 out of the 4 of the stats of the item is added. It does have to have, I believe it has to have an exalted. It's either that you have to have a tier 6 or tier 7, or that it's good. Obviously, you would prefer that. Can't remember exactly which because I haven't crafted one in a while. But either way, if it has 3, then it would choose 3. And even when it has 1, like for example, say I found a Herald of the Scurry with 1 legendary potential, I would try to combine that with another helmet that has Summon Wolf and hope that it takes that 1 Summon Wolf. But this is gambling, right? You're hoping that it takes the stat you want. And that's why 4 legendary potential is so good, because then you try to make a perfect helmet, smash them together for like a literal super item, and then it becomes a legendary. To be able to do this process, it actually depends on what the item level or required level of the item is. So for the really endgame items, you have to do the super endgame dungeon, which is incredibly hard on hardcore. To do lower level items, you can actually do like easier ones that are fairly easy, but it is a pretty hard boss fight. One thing that I really want to drive home here is a good point. It is a lot less complicated than other games. So, you know, obviously a lot of people find that Path of Exile is incredibly hard. You're constantly looking at guides and videos, etc. That's something you don't need in this game. The skill tree, you start off with like Primalist as the base class, and you know, there's not that many things to read and look at. You aren't shoved with a huge skill tree with a few thousand nodes in your face and be like, do I have to read all of this? Whereas looking through all of these, because this is the only thing you have access to at the start, is a lot more manageable. And then after that, you have one of 3 classes that you can look at, and that's only available after you've played the game for a little bit. Now, there's no respec for these at the moment, like the Ascendancies, but like normal respecs is very easy, and we'll talk about that later. But either way, it's a lot more manageable, and I've only followed 2 guides for builds because I wanted to try something like somebody had really min-maxed. Other than that, I've just been like figuring out my own thing, and it's been pretty easy to do and have strong characters on hardcore that are able to get really far. And that's really, really fun. And speaking of easy skill respec, I could literally just click here, respec, and every skill that you choose, and you do have many, if I click on here in my health bar, you can see that I do have a lot of skills that I'm not using, don't have access to. And you know, obviously just slap that in if I want to, but this doesn't have like a specialization. So these are my 5 specialized skills, and they're the ones you're supposed to use. You start out with 1, and then you unlock more as you level. And then skills go up to level 20. You can bypass that by getting plus gem level. And every skill has a minimum level. So I can't remember what my minimum level is right now. I think it's like 8, 11, or 13. Probably something around there. So if I unspec one of these, it'll reappear at that level, or anything I spec into will reappear at that level. And it'll have a massively boosted XP rate until it's back to 20. So let's say that I was at the level where my wolf was 11, and I respec, maybe I would only have a level 3 wolf, But the new thing, whatever I put in, maybe it's Ice Thorns, maybe it's Temper Strike, we get a massively increased XP rate until I'm back similar level to my other skills. So respecs are also free. It doesn't cost anything. You literally just click respec and you put a new skill in. Now, obviously, it is scary to respec still because you are now at a way lower level than the one where you were at. But it is a really good system and feels a lot less punishing. It's not like you have to like save up and be able to afford or buy a respec. And the skill point respec, this does cost gold, but it is very, very affordable. And gold in this game is used for a lot of things like gambling. It is also used for buying your stash tabs. That doesn't cost real money in this, it costs gold. So a lot of uses for it. And as a last point, it is going to have a revolutionary crafting system. Basically going to be that you choose one of two factions and you can swap between them freely. And gear will be tagged with either the trade faction or the SSF faction. Now, people are saying it's the SSF faction a lot, but you can still play with other players and even trade with other players of what drops when like you're looting it. It's basically one faction that has increased drop rates, but you can't trade as easily or as freely. And there is one that is, oh my god, you can trade basically anything. And these are factions that you have to like, level up. They'll get higher level over time. Like at the start of the trade faction, you can't trade everything. And at the start of the drop faction, you don't have the best drop rates. And they improve over time the more you play it and the more tasks you do. So these are really, really cool. For the trade faction, there's going to be a bazaar, a trading system. And especially as an initial thing, it sounds very cool, very exciting. And this is obviously something that's going to progress over time and we're going to see it improve. So looking forward to see how that turns out. So just wanted to make this video with the 6 cool things that I thought were really interesting and might pull people in. It's a really great game. Comes out this 9th for the multiplayer release. And you can actually buy Last Epoch through my Nexus store if you would like. That's, you can give me money instead of Gabe. He already has a lot. So do I, but I would like more. But either way, thank you guys so much for watching the video. Thanks so much for watching. Sub if you like it. More importantly, try to die. That's the night. Hi, and welcome to an impromptu Diablo 4 podcast where we'll be, well, talking about Diablo 4 and probably some other ARPGs as well. Joining me here today is Datmods, Sakisha, and Noogie. And since not everybody will know everyone, Datmods, tell us a little bit about who are you?
I'm Florida man. Nah, just I don't know, I've been streaming for like 12 years and I play action ARPGs and MMOs. That's pretty much it.
Awesome. Noogie?
Basically the same, just Danish instead. Less beard, more neck.
Basically the Florida of Europe.
Actually, yeah, I actually started out in D3 with mods back in the day. We used to, you know, do things.
11 years ago, huh?
Yeah, it was a while back.
Yeah.
Did you start before that?
Yeah, playing Skyrim.
Oh, shit.
Shirtless.
Oh, these boomer streamers. I started in 2015. Sakisha, tell us a little bit about you.
I play all the things. I play all the things. I've recently taken a dive back into, you know, Path of Exile because I gave it like, hung it up for like 5 years. Because the computer I was on would just like, the power supply would just turn off the computer and I lost like every hardcore character, so I just hung it up for a really long time. But every time I was gonna come back, it was just like, really daunting. You just have to take that first step, really, I think, for like any ARPG, pretty much.
Yeah, it can be very overwhelming for sure. And something I really love about Sakisha, he plays like every game on the hardest difficulty. I just want to add that in there. It's very cool to watch. But yeah, I'm Zizarin. I play mostly PoE, but pretty much every ARPG, and that's perfect because we've all been playing D4 this past weekend. And if we would start off talking about the launch, were you guys surprised like that there were queue issues? If anything, I was kind of surprised that that we had a queue. I was expecting a big error, a D3 repeat.
Right. I think they got it online pretty quickly, it felt like.
Yeah.
Like I think Saturday and Sunday I didn't have any queuing issues like at all.
It was very funny to me because obviously I played on EU and the queues were different per realm. And what was a really fun experience for me, I saw in one of my videos that I got up early that people were accusing me of streamer queue because I got in so fast. I disconnected, I got right back in, but they had a 2-hour queue. And I was replying to someone on YouTube and I realized, oh, it's just because it's a different queue for America. And I realized it was all because of the KFC promotion.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So basically, it's such a fun and amusing stereotype too, you know, fat Americans. It was so funny that you guys got fucked over by KFC at launch. That was just a KFC queue was just too funny for me.
Yeah, for sure, dude.
Did any of you actually try the double down or any of the sandwiches that gave you beta access?
No.
Doesn't exist here.
But yeah, you can't get it.
Yeah, I ordered both of them to do a taste test because I haven't had KFC in like 10 years.
How was it?
Bro, the double down put me down. I was in pain for a while at the thing. I couldn't even finish it all. It was so much chicken. It was just like a whole bunch of mayo. There was no cheese. The bacon, it was so thin you could actually see through it. You like held it up and you're like, what is this? And it was like rubbery. Yeah, it wasn't good, but yeah, there was like a spicy chicken sandwich that you could get also, and that was actually decent. I ate that. But yeah, no, the double down, yeah, put me down.
Apparently, I've been asleep for months and I still can't get that damn garbage thing out of the microwave.
Wait, I hear something.
Oh, sorry. Is it? Am I typing?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
That was funny.
Oh, that was the Joe Biden TTS.
Yeah,
My
yeah.
bad, dude. Oh, yeah,
So, Sikisha, how was your launch experience like with NA, with the queue? Yeah, how much did you get to play on day one?
I got disconnected a couple times, which kind of sucked. But yeah, other than that, like it wasn't that bad. Once like got in, you know, like it was fine. There's a little rubber banding at some points, but other than that, it wasn't bad at all.
What about you, Dumbo?
Yeah, no, the same thing. I think I went through 2 80-minute queues, 1 30-minute queue, and 1 110-minute queue. So I got disconnected 4 times. But then going in the evening time, it was like smooth sailing for me. I just stayed connected the entire time. So yeah, the original launch stuff, it was rough. I need to stare at the loading screen the entire time and just did React indie stuff. But yeah, after that, pretty much smooth sailing. Dope.
I'm
Yeah,
sitting here
that's
thinking
actually the go-to.
laughs in Europe, but I don't think Noogie had a much better time of it, even though he was in Europe.
My experience was pretty much like that, mods. Honestly, even though I was in Europe, I didn't have like proper authentication on my account, and I think it was trying to authenticate with my mobile or something, and it was waiting for it to time out. Because I actually, you know, when it comes up with the authenticating window, I waited there for like half an hour once, and I know you went through it in like instantly, because people were telling me. So I'm like, I don't know. There's something going on there. I don't know what it was, but I expected it could have like kept going on like for a lot longer, but it was only like for the first night, so that was good.
Yeah, and what I really appreciated, like I said, I was expecting an error. It was really nice that the queue started very fast and you could actually queue. You saw the number going down.
Yeah.
So many queues can be really frustrating when it's just like an hour and it just keeps saying an hour and you're like, am I in queue? Like, is this working? And yeah, I mean, was it completely gone for NA on day 2 as well?
Yeah, it was completely gone. Talking about errors, though, did you guys have any hard crash errors? Where it was like, no?
No.
No?
Memory leaks, I think. I mean, I think there was a memory leak at least, because, I don't know. Everything stalled out, and I tried to close the game, and my PC almost blue screened. Like everything, all my sound stopped, I couldn't move my mouse, all my monitors froze for like a minute, and then they all came back.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, I had like one hard crash, but yeah, once I did that texture thing where you set it from high to medium, it didn't happen again. But I have like a bunch of memory, so I don't know if you guys also had that issue with the hard crashes.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, I didn't have the crashes.
I have 64 gigs of memory as well. Maybe that helps.
I do too.
That's
Right.
a lot. I have a double that, 128.
Maybe I do. I actually can't remember now. Oh, I'm so curious. What did I have? What did I have? Oh no, I do have 64. 128, that's crazy. Do you really?
Yeah, it's for, yeah.
Oh no, I want that.
You know what they say, everything's bigger in America.
Girl, wait, does that mean you can use like a browser and have like 200 tabs open in your phone?
Yeah, yeah, why not?
I mean, that's
Use
the main
some-
reason to have it, right?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, just keep a bunch of tabs open.
Yeah. No, it's good, especially for a streamer. Like if you never restart your PC, I never do. But yeah, no, it was pretty good. And they ended up extending. How much did they extend the beta? Half a day or a day?
I think like a full day. It was like 7 p.m. on Monday it ended, and I would imagine that would have been Sunday otherwise.
Yeah, because it ended like, was it 1 or 2 p.m. I think on Monday? So it must have been like another.
Yeah.
several-
Yeah, I remember there was so much confusion because like their website that said the world boss was spawning at a certain time. One of the timers like restarted, so it said like world boss spawning 4 hours. So loads of people were like spam leveling to get back up in time, but I don't think there was a world boss. But, yeah. I want to talk a little bit first about like the leveling and first impressions on leveling and just being a low level character. Sakisha, what did you try first, and what was your experience on like early game Diablo?
I think I don't know. I had a fun time. I had a fun time doing it. The leveling was like relatively easy. There was a couple mob areas or things that were kind of obviously a little bit more dangerous than others. Like getting frozen and then like the overhead stun lock from like the big goat dudes was probably one of the most lethal things that I was running into. But luckily, I don't know. I didn't have. Yeah, it was that or the butcher. The first time I got to the butcher, I escaped just barely in time. Like I had a ledge that I could climb up and then easy spawn.
Last time I didn't meet the butcher in like 30 hours, 26 hours. I'm not
You
sure.
didn't?
Once?
I saw him numerous times. Apparently he was the only one that dropped a unique, like the butcher's cleaver or something like that.
Yeah, there were apparently somebody said there were 3 uniques in the beta, but the only one I heard people actually got was the butcher's cleaver. They were apparently quite rare too. And I don't know what like the lowest level the butcher could spawn at, but somebody in my chat said they got him at level 7 and they just got like bonked. I don't know if that's true, but you know.
It's true.
What?
Can confirm.
That's so funny. What was
That my
your
first day.
what was your first character, Sakisha?
I just played the barb the whole time.
Oh really? Oh man, you're gonna
I was
have
just trying to like see how far I could push like the equipment and the gear because I wanted to be ready for on hardcore. I wanted to be ready for the world boss because the first time it spawned I was like offline, because I stayed up like long the previous night. The second time I came out there, or actually the only time I got to it, I think it was the third world boss spawn, and everyone from hardcore had already fucking died. So there was only 4 people out there. I had like full poison resist, or I think the soft cap, and everything else, and the scroll of escape, hot bound, and all that. And there was only like 4 people out there.
Good luck out there.
I was in there
I'll need
fighting
it
them
now.
a pretty good bit. I soaked a couple of the hits. I think once you get over a certain amount of poison resist, that dot doesn't like affect you.
Yeah.
Like, I was seeing it on everybody else. Like, you
I
resist the dot or something? I don't know.
yeah, we had a very different experience because on my rogue, first off, I didn't know it had poison, so I went in with no elixir, no poison res, and obviously the rogue, I don't think, did it even have like a damage reduction move? If so, I didn't have it. I hadn't taken it. So the first swipe the boss did on me, my health bar just like boom, gone. I was like, oh okay, I guess I'm dead now.
You should just use the dodge build next time, Sis.
Yeah, I had none of
You know,
that.
do you know about the immortal dodge build with the ring synergy and poison imbuement?
No, I didn't.
You
try that.
actually won't take. Yeah, it's bugged. So it says like if you have a poison application to a mob, you get like 8% dodge, but it actually counts every single application. So you become 100% unable to be hit if you just use poison imbuement and nothing to damage you.
That's
You
funny.
gotta make sure to keep up your poison. Your poison on the boss.
That's
Yeah,
very funny.
immortal hardcore build, unkillable.
Well, probably not now. Now that you've said
Unkillable.
it. Sorry,
I don't know if they're gonna bug squash it this weekend. Maybe.
yeah, I'm not expecting. Do you think they'll do a patch between the weekends at all, besides just adding the crosses?
They said yesterday that they did some bug fixes, but they didn't do like Path of Exile style where they list like 10,000 words of what they fixed. They just said bug fixes. So who really knows?
That's
Yeah.
fair. I'm so excited
Yeah, I
that Sakisha only played Barb because he'll have such a unique perspective on the game. Like, that's so fun.
Yeah, everyone else played like everything, and yeah, I don't know.
And you
what was
actually
your-
managed to kill the butcher on Barb, which some people in my chat were saying that's impossible. People can't do that, and I'm like,
Yeah, no, I soloed him like twice, I think, and then like three of the other times. Actually, one of the times we found him, it was myself and Anthony. He was playing on his rogue. We actually had a loot goblin and the butcher with like 5 like elites there. It was pretty wild, but obviously we prioritized the goblin. Most of the loot off the goblin didn't really seem that great, but you know, it was just like any other rare. Just your you know.
yeah.
rare.
I didn't get much of the loot goblin either. I only found 2. I found 2 in the first 4 hours, and then didn't see one since. And everyone kept saying like, "Oh, I got like 2 or 3 legendaries off the loot goblins." I was like, "I got none. I got 2 rares." But okay. So they were like, I didn't have a good experience with that. But what was fun with like Barb for people in my chat was that people started out playing Barb and then would try Sork after, and they're like, wow, what a different experience.
Pretty big difference, I think. Like the clear speed for Sork and Rogue just completely dumpsters like the Barb for the most part, unless you've got really insane gear, and or at least at 25, right? But I still, even knowing that, I really enjoyed playing Barb because I felt like if I ran into something crazy, I could just face it, and if shit hit the fan, I could just scroll and escape out of there, which I only had to use once in a boss fight.
Yeah, I think the really big difference, at least in my opinion, was between all the classes. It felt like at least at level 25, Sork just has everything. It has the defensive moves, it has the CC, it has the AoE, it has the single target. Whereas like both Barb and Rogue didn't really feel like it had everything at that level. That much.
Sports can end up feeling late game though.
Yeah. For sure. But Damas, what did you start out with?
I started out as Rogue, but then eventually I just wanted to play everything, so I did Rogue, Sork, and then I did Hardcore Barbarian too.
Nice.
So, yeah, overall it was pretty fun though, but I kind of cheated a little bit because I had access to the media beta, so I actually played the low-level content before, so it was pretty smooth sailing, so I already like kind of knew what to do.
Right.
Yeah.
And did you mostly play softcore or and just the one character hardcore?
Yeah, the first 2 days when the server issues and disconnect stuff was going on, I mostly played softcore, and then once the servers got better, I started playing some hardcore on the Barbarian.
Yeah. And Noogie, what about you?
I started with a rogue 3 times. So I got to level 7 on the...
Wait, 3 times?
So I got to level 7 on the first one. Melee rogue. It was going all right. But obviously you play on Torment 2 and you push a little bit too fast. So I get like a big elite pack. It was tough. It was a tough pack. It had all the affixes and everything. Like I was getting walled in. I try and walk back, and then from the other side, Butcher comes along. Yeah. So I tried to run all the way out of the instance, but he hooked me back and killed me.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
Just when you think you're out.
It's so long. It's like 2 screens. It was crazy.
Oh yeah. It's super long.
I tried Rogue as a bow right after. Got to the spider boss. And basically it ended up like the more damage you do to her, the more things she starts doing, and she starts chasing you and more ads. And I couldn't keep up with the ads, and there was not enough health potions spawning because I wasn't doing enough damage. So I just kind of like, it was like a 50-minute fight, and it was just like a war of attrition to the point where I just died in the end. Because she would just hit, like I would literally get hit for like 5% of my life with poison, like every 5 seconds, and I just couldn't do anything about it eventually. So
Yeah.
You know when you make a ZDPS build, you're supposed to build your toughness. You're not supposed to have no toughness and no damage.
I mean, I didn't think the boss would be that hard. I had like a blue bow. I thought, you know, ARPG veteran here will do fine, but no. And then I played the next rogue, where I found a good build with the, you stab the things in and you dash through and you pull the daggers out. That skill is really good. Yeah, and I got to 25 on that. That was a good time.
It's like splitting steel, but good.
Pretty much.
Yeah, no, my experience was I started out with the sword, and I felt like nothing was challenging. I think I had maybe one close call on my sword, and I think it was before I had like the ice barrier block. And then I'm pretty sure I was level 19. I saw the level 25 stronghold, and I was like, ooh, 6 levels above, that sounds sick. And I'm on hardcore, which by the way, in hindsight, I actually regret playing hardcore, just because I'm so used to playing hardcore for my own enjoyment, but you get to test a lot more. I also heard some people were getting kicked out after they died on hardcore, so it's super hardcore. You die and then 2-hour queue. Yeah, I saw this stronghold and I started fighting them up. So I was like, this is really hard. This is a really cool difficulty for a change, because now I'm not one-hitting the monsters anymore and they're actually doing damage. So I'm fighting through this stronghold and I'm like, man, am I gonna get my shit kicked in by the boss here now? Because he's 6 levels higher than me. I go in and it's the one that does like the barrage attack with yeah, just absolutely.
The frozen one? The eastern one you're in? The frozen one?
No, it was all the way northwest with like the it was like the blood things.
Oh, he's got the blood like machine gun, right?
Yeah, the blood machine
It
gun.
almost killed me.
That just annihilated me at 6 levels under, and I was like, okay. And I realized I wanted to leave combat, but I had no scroll of escape, and I was like, I can't get out. It's me or him. And yeah, I'd also recently switched my hotkeys. Sorry. So I pressed Ice Nova or something instead of my barrier, and I died. I'm a new rogue, leveled up to 24. And got the boss. I cut off to the boss. I got one shot by the boss, like the world boss. And I was like, oh my god, I'm regretting hardcore so much right now. And then I'm like, okay, should I make softcore? Make a softcore barb, play around with that a little bit, Thorns. Because I'd heard so many people in chat that softcore was just better for barb because it was, you know, unless you go Thorns, unless you do certain things, it's very rippy, so it's harder to test. So I was like, okay, I'll play softcore. I had an okay time with that. Made one last hardcore sork. I get to level 25, and people tell me, I think Noogie and Steel on a walk tells me about this level 30, 35 boss, that they were farming for higher level gear. And I'm like, cool. So I go farm it, I kill it. No one ever had mentioned the undeath effect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you are. I wasn't sure if you were coming through my headset or not there. I'll be honest a second and just went sorry. I fucking you know I said I picked up Lost Epoch recently.
Yeah.
I fucking I had a build I was going for. Like I just searched one up and I decided to follow it just for the sake of it. But in this game you don't really need to follow a build as much because like you can basically respec as much as you want. Unlike
Yeah.
PoE where you're kind of locked in. Well, this you're locked in once you pick like you know how there's the main class like druid, warrior, stuff like that. In this, like you pick a mastery and then you're locked into that mastery, but you can like branch off into a bit of another one. So it's not as bad, but that's like the only thing it locks you into. Everything else you can respec.
Huh?
But like I was following a build and I decided to have a look at it again, and I realized it was from a year ago, and apparently it got nerfed. It's like dog shit nice. I was like, fuck it, I'll just try this druid one. It's like the druid has like 4 different forms you can swap between, like a Werber, something that looks like Kha'Zix from League of Legends, and then like 2 other ones. I just want to put like zoom around as the Kha'Zix things. It looks cool. I just yeah.
Ken's voice is your mic's a wee bit robotic.
Oh,
Don't know if it's my headset or your mic.
I think it's my mic. I can swap on. It's probably better now, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's in video broadcast being weird. It happens every now and then. I mean, that means this. I need to dip the stream because it restarting the PC fixes it, but I don't know why it happens in the first place.
Yeah. It broke